So yeah, Namaste Swamiji and welcome,
Namaste.
Yeah. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time, to share your story with Osho and to talk about Osho.
Yes.
Yes. So for this session, we are going to get along with your story, about your life, how you met Osho and the journey you had with Osho. So I want to start this with, so Vijay, how was your life before you met Osho? Like you played music, you played with lots of band, famous band, and what and tell us something about that moment.
Yeah. I moved to New York City because I wanted to play with good musicians and I wanted to study music. And Brazil didn't have the schools that I needed. So I went to America, to United States, and I started playing with everybody. And I played with the best musicians in the world at that time. And that was very nourishing for my creative spirit. Um, but I got tired of all that stuff, all that hustle and bustle of the Western life. So I wanted to meditate. So I dropped the West and went to the East. And I went to the East already with the focus on Osho, because I heard about him. I had a master from Bengal. His name was, I think I'm starting to have Alzheimer because I forget many things. Sri Chinmoy. Sri Chinmoy was my first master in New York City. And I have to put the glasses again. And Sri Chinmoy, he taught me how to get away from all these commotions of the mind. Yeah. He said, you just focus in one thing, focus in your breath, because this is the bridge to take you in and make you familiar with your inner world, your breath. And so I was with Sri Chinmoy for 1.5 years. And one day, the mother of my son started talking about Bhagwan. And she was with Bhagwan and she wanted me to know about Bhagwan. And then as I start reading the books, Bhagwan's books, something really came to me that I have to go see this guy, because this guy has a language that appeals to my understanding. And I went to Sri Chinmoy and I said, look, I met this man from India and I want to come here to be grateful to you, to say how grateful I am to you. And I want to say goodbye. And he said, yeah, you go to see this man. This man will really do something that will transform you totally. Here, and he gave me a prasad, and then he gave me a statue of liberty, like New York Statue of Liberty. Means this is freedom for you. Meaning that if I go to see this man, Osho, would be my freedom, my inner freedom. And so I went to India. And I dropped all that Western music style of playing. I got bored because, see, after you play with so many great musicians, it's like a school. You learn. You learn not to be an academic musician. because many people are just academic musicians. And when you're on the road and playing every night with great musicians, what you learn, you never will learn that in school. It's
Swamiji, I
like,
had heard that you had played along with Pink Floyd and Santana also, is it true?
yeah, played with Carlos Santana, with John McLaughlin, with Weather Report, many bands, all famous bands. And but I got really bored because something inside me wanted the silence, not the sound. And through the music, I found the sound, the silence. Through the sound of the music, I found silence. And if you write music, you have some notations where you have the note and you have the pause. And the pause is like a silence. Yeah. And I'm grateful to music, to the art of music, because it comes very close to godliness, to the divine, and music. And if you learn how to use the scales of the secret music, that not the music that you play on the radio, but the music that you play inside your soul, the way you interpret the sounds that come from the universe, and you transform that in music. Yeah. When the music comes from the universe, it doesn't come in a format. So, and then if you are like a sponge and you soak in this whole sound coming into you, it also has the pause and the silence. So, and then when you meditate, you start to learn how to differentiate the sound and the silence. And to me, the silence is much more appealing. I feel really good within the silence. And then when I have to go out to make the sound, this sound has to come from that silent point. And it has to be beautiful and has to transform you. So if you play a bell, that bell should reach the whoever is listening heart. And a bell, like in India, for example, I guess in Nepal also, if you play a bell, the bell makes you aware of your breath. Yeah. Ting, 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 ting. This makes you, it has a pulse. And this pulse, if you really, somebody who understood your breathing system, you can take advantage of that, of somebody's playing a bell that reminds you to be focused within yourself. Most of the people, they are just scattered all over the mind. Yeah. And that's the rock music, the punk music, the folk music. They all have a mind aspect to it. And but when you go to the East has a total different idea of music. Like the scales of the Indian instruments are different. And what I did with Osho was I got the East and the West mixed up, and we made Oshoba. Oshoba was a mixture. And I won't tell you the secret because I still want to do that all over the world. You have a Brazilian beat, and you have the Eastern scales mixed in a way that is scientific, made to make you be happy, to make you dance, to bring you to a space of let go. And Osho used that for 1.5 years. The last year and a half of his life, we played Osho in Buddha Hall. And he loved it because it is a no-mind kind of manifestation. And when you bring that with the pulse, you have to have the pulse so people feel, how you say, at ease, because you have the pulse in your mother's heartbeat during 9 months. So when you hear that beat going, something triggers in you and brings you back to the womb. And mankind should go back to the womb and drop all this bullshit that they learn through their lives. In the schools, in universities, and the priests and the politicians, they all say many things that make you, mankind, a slave. So if you go back to the womb, if you go back to where it all started, you have a chance to transcend it. All these limitations that society creates for you. And music can do that, especially this music. And I want to take this Oshoba around the world again. We did something, but the guy who I was doing with, he's a little bit of a clown, yeah? And he's more interested in his ego, yeah? And I want to go and touch people's heart. Not because I'm beautiful and I'm loving, no, because it's real, yeah?
So, yeah, so Swamiji, so let's go to the moment when you met Osho. I have read somewhere that you arrived at the Pune ashram in a truck. You went with the truck through the gate. Tell us about that story. How you came to Pune and how you met Osho. In his physical form for the first time.
I went to Jayananda. Jayananda was Sheila's husband. And he lived in New York City, and I was living in New York City, so we were acquainted. And later on, we became friends. And I went to him and said, Jayananda, I'm fed up with this whole story here in New York. And, I already did what I came to New York to do. So I'm satisfied with this. I don't want to be an iconic musician. I just wanted to play, and I played with all these great people. So I learned my lessons. So now I want to go and meditate. So I want to go to India, and I want to go to Bhagwan. And he says, so wait a week, and you can take up things for us to the ashram. I said, okay. So the day that I had to go to India, I arrived at Kennedy Airport, and there was this 15-meter long pile of stuff that I had to take in the plane. Mosquitoes, towers, blue lights for Changshu Hall, and bass, amplifiers, so many things. And I had to take all that stuff. And I said, but I'm going to take this. He said, no problem. We already paid everything. So when you arrive on the other side, you'll be somebody there to pick you up. I said, great. So I already will come knowing where to go. Huh? So we arrived at the Bombay airport, and some envelope changed hands with the custom guy, the usual bakshish. Yeah. So all this gear came, and there was one big van, a Matador van, yeah, from the ashram, orange. And they loaded the whole thing, and then we went to the ashram. And so I was very happy because Swami Manu, me and him look like brothers physically, yeah, very much alike. And Swami Manu called me Pong, and I said, no, I don't know. Is this a drug or what? pan, that you chew and you spit. Yeah. I said, no, I don't want a pan. But thank you. And so we arrived in the ashram, and before the truck went in, I asked to stop, and I got out of the truck.
Hello, Swamiji. I think we had lost Swamiji. He said that in Brazil there is a heavy rainfall, so I think he had lost his connection. So Swamiji, Swamiji, we had lost you for a few minutes. Swamiji, your voice is inaudible. I think you are muted. Swamiji, I think you are muted.
Aqui ele tá com o microfone ligado. Se o problema existe, existe não.
Maybe it's there. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear?
Yeah, Swamiji, now I can hear. We had lost you
Okay,
for
so
many minutes.
So we arrived at the ashram gate, and I asked the guy, please stop the truck. And I went with 2 feet inside the ashram. I jumped. Because I went there to stay. I knew that that would be my home. And that arrived there, and I went to Sheila because I met Sheila in New York with Jayananda in the center. And I went to her and said, look, I brought all this equipment, so what to do with all this? He said, oh, just relax now, find a place for you, go eat, take a shower, and then come back. And then next day I went to see her again, because on the first day I went to play a Dadaji's tomb with Rupesh. It was a whole story about that. Rupesh came to me and said, we're waiting for you. I said, great idea. I don't know you. He said, no, we've been here waiting for you. So you were Fulano, you were so-and-so. I said, yes. So come with me to Dadaji's tomb. And we were going to play there just to open up the situation here in Pune for you. So we went to his tomb and we played berimbau, which is a string instrument, and his tablas, and it was really nice. And then I met Chaitanya Hari. And the next day I went to see Sheila again. And then Sheila came to me and said, well, the master wants to know why so long. I said, what? And I felt really honored that the master asked such a question. Why did I come so late? And then she said, and he sent this to you, it was a golden pen with a diamond on top. And he wants you to have this. And I felt immensely blessed at that moment, because it's like the master is saying that you are welcome in his presence.
So is it before you took sannyas?
No, I was already sannyas. I took sannyas in New York City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then when I got out of the office, there was these 2 ladies, Makumud and Majivan. They were waiting for me and said, please come with me, come with us. they took me down to some Vipassana go down where they had a shower. And they said, now you undress. I said, what? She said, yeah, we're going to give you a shower. We're going to scrub you. We're going to cut your nails. We're going to wash your hair, take all this gunk out of you, this gunk from New York City, because you're going to see Bhagwan. I said, wow, I'm going to see Bhagwan? Said, yeah. I never saw Bhagwan, actually, because something was happening and I couldn't go and he couldn't, I guess he was sick. I don't remember what was. So, but he sent a message. Anand Nivedano, now because I asked, what should I do now? You say that I'm welcome here, so what should I do now? Should I go do some meditations? Should I go do some groups? He said, no, you should not do the dynamic meditation. If you want to do any meditation, do the Kundalini meditation or do the Vipassana meditation. And you don't have to do any group. You just go to the music group and play music. That's all you have to do here. And I felt really blessed that because the idea was that you have to throw away all your garbage by doing all these meditations that are very helpful for many people. Yeah? But, you know, just not to be included in that club was really good for me. It was like, okay, so I am already one step further. Yeah. And this was really great because then I could just play music. And I was his musician from the first day that I arrived in the ashram all the way to the day that he died. I played music for him in Greece, in Portugal, in Uruguay, in India, and everywhere he went, we played music for him. And this was really something that made me very grateful. Because if you play music for the master, it's a different quality. First, the environment where you play the music is an environment of silence, meditation, devotion. So it brings up the energy level many, many times. That's the Muladhara chakra. It goes from your heart chakra. And to be able to do that every day, somehow it breaks the rock that you have inside, that ego rock. Yeah. Because music has this, music softens you. Music, it goes like the sound of beautiful sounds of played music goes into your heart and washes your heart of many pains, many debris, many junk that's there. And if you use the right scales, you can create a whole picture with music. You can kill with music and you can heal with music. Yeah, Gurdjieff is a master with that. Gurdjieff would use some scale that would make a lamp come up on you like poof, here, immediately. And he would play another one and the lamp would go. Yes, so music has this power. Music, even the music can kill you. Yeah, and but it also can give you birth. And this is what happened to me, you know, because I was meditating and playing music. And since Osho really brought me closer to him, he brought me closer in the most unique way, because he gave me all the freedom to explore myself, to make mistakes, and always to come up heads up. And this was very important. Yeah, because you make mistakes and you should not go down with the mistakes. Mistakes exist for you to grow. And when you are in the presence of a divine soul like Osho, yeah, you walk in a very thin thread. Yeah, it's like a sharp knife where you walk on top of a sharp knife. Yeah, if you make a mistake, you cut yourself. Yeah, but it heals again. And as more you want to go into the master's inner world, he opens up for you. He lets you do whatever you want to do. He never came or sent a message that I shouldn't do this or that, and that what this was wrong or right. He always allowed me to make my mistakes. And I make mistakes with millions of dollars, like in the ashram. And we're making gardens for him. And gardens takes lots of money. And money makes people crazy. And he used Nivedano to push these buttons on these people. The money department in Pune, they went crazy with Nivedano because every garden was a few crore rupees. Like the last waterfall that I made for him, all marble, where is the Samadhi is today, is a marble waterfall outside. It cost $1.5 million. Imagine 64 trucks coming all the way from Makarana in Rajasthan with marble to the ashram. There was all these trucks parked around the ashram, and there was big traffic jam and big confusion. And the guy asked me what to do. I said, look, you just buy another plot. And they don't want to hear that, they want to do everything cheap. And a master like Osho is not a cheap master. He's a very expensive master because you have to really give in to him. You have to allow him, if you want to surrender, this is the right moment to surrender to a man like that, because he can go inside yourself and do a really clean up. He leave you naked. He leave you totally naked, yeah? But it's not cold, because the warmth of his love is there like a blanket that makes you go further and further towards your enlightenment. And this is what you have to do. You have to get enlightened. If you come here just to go to birthday party and be an artist and this and that, you're wasting your time. Use this time to get enlightened. And this is the main reason why you're here. And if you are lucky enough to meet somebody like a Bhagwan, a Osho, you should make the best of these moments. And this is what I did. My friends wanted to go to lunch. I would go and sleep under his bedroom. 11 o'clock, he would go to take a nap. And he would wake up and go for drive-by. So I was in charge of doing something in the garden when he came out every day. So I would take a little something for me to eat, and I would eat there in the garden, and I would sleep under his deck. He would be sleeping in his room, I would be sleeping under his deck. And this created a connection very strong, because if he didn't want me there, he would have said so. Because a noisy mind would make big buzz around him. And when I would go to sleep on his deck, it was very quiet, very silent, because nobody was in the garden, just the guy sleeping just above my head. And the funny thing that I found out after doing that for more than a year was that I was sleeping in a place full of rattlesnakes. Yeah, was a nest of rattlesnakes. We took more than 20 rattlesnakes under that place. Yeah, and that danger that danger is the only danger that is worth living, man. You know, because everybody was into the social, the commune, socializing. Yeah? And I wanted to meditate. My reason to come to Osho wasn't to be with my friends in the cafeteria. That I could do later on in the night. But whenever the master was active, I was around, always around him, trying to get in. Yeah. Because he leaves his door a little bit open for any sannyasin to come with a new form of enlightenment, a variation, because enlightenment is never the same. There are all, as many persons there are in the planet, as many enlightenment varieties will be. So, and he leaves the little crack in the door for somebody to come and say, hey man, wake up, I'm here. He's ready for that. But everybody's afraid. Imagine you giving a shout to your master, hey man, I'm here. Huh? Look at me. This is what Huineng did to Bodhidharma. Bodhidharma didn't want to turn around. Bodhidharma was facing the wall. That was his device. And Huineng came and said, "Toe." Throw the hand right there on the wall, say, fuck, man, look at me. Yeah, and Bodhidharma said, hey, wait, no need to do that. Just cool. I was waiting for you. Yeah, and you have to have this determination. You want to find your enlightenment? And you have a master like Osho? It's very easy. You already did the impossible, is to find a master. Now go find yourself. Because the master, he will push you into yourself. He won't give you any, how you say, he won't tell you, go this way, go that way. He just push you in. And to push you in, he has to find from you, you have to be open to give him the opportunity to work that out inside you. So he made me in charge of garden, money, politics. So I have to deal with all bunch of idiots. My brothers and sisters, but bunch of idiots, only interested in the money, in the position, the power. This OIF situation is a great power struggle between a bunch of idiots. That instead of meditating, they were more concerned in being such a big guy. And they could be just there. You know, in Buddha time, there was this guy Ananda too. In the end, Ananda got enlightened, but took a lot of effort for Ananda to get enlightened. You know, there was already Sariputra, Mahakashyapa. There were many enlightened people in Buddha's commune, and they could not, after Buddha died, they wanted to write something about message. And the best person to do that was Ananda, because he lived with the guy 24 hours, would sleep, eat, piss, shit, all with the master. 24 hours, such a boring guy, this Ananda. And in the end, you know, Sariputra went to him and said, hey, you are the only person who can give a right account of Gautama's life. So, but you are not enlightened. So your point of view is going to be from a non-enlightened person. So to get enlightened. So go outside and do it. So, and then they closed the door, put him outside on the steps, and in 24 hours, Ananda got enlightened. And then he wrote the sutras. Are you there still?
Yes, Swamiji, I am here.
So, and then he wrote the sutras, the the Gautam Buddha Sutras. And Ananda was very intelligent because he started every sutra with the saying, I have heard. Yeah, because what he heard from the master is not what he is, not his point of view, what he heard. He was just repeating what he heard from Gautam Buddha. And these people in the OIF, they should be ashamed of themselves. Yeah? Idiots. Yeah? Easy money. You know who easy money is? Who is easy money? Easy money is Jayesh. That's his nickname. Because he only thinks about money, how to get easy money from people. Amirito was such a great devotee. And how come after a little while, he became such a drag to the whole Osho movement in the planet? I fought with all these people. I am a rebel in heart. So when I see Sheila, Vidya, Patipada, they were horrible people. And Osho used these people to show us, to give us a lesson about trusting. Because these people are not to be trusted. What Ma Sheila is doing in the world right now is a shame. She should be ashamed of what she's doing. And I told her 35 years ago, I told her in Rajneeshpuram, 40 years ago, said, one day, Sheila, you will repent from all this bullshit that you're doing. Because she wanted to kick me out. And she wanted to kick me out. And then it's a long story. I will tell a little bit. Swami Dhyanesh, who is ashram in charge now, he came to me one day, and when I was working in the docks and receiving the food that would come into Rajneeshpuram, he said, Nivedano, Mataji needs a few Indian food because she's not Westerner, and they're all missing to have dal, chapati, to have what was the name?
Pakora.
The Indian food. Yeah, they miss the Indian food. Yeah, so can you arrange some food from the docks without anybody seeing, without anybody? I say, I love that. How many people are in Mataji's crew? And then there were maybe 20, 30 Indians, yeah? Mataji, the uncles, the sons, and the grandsons, and the friends, yeah? And there was Maitreya Ji, there was Suraj Prakash, there was Nivedita, there was a bunch of people, Indian, and I would make a package, like a pallet, yeah? Every week. And Swami Dhyanesh would come at lunchtime when nobody was there, and we would load, and he would take it to the Indian place, to the Indian people, yeah? And was basmati rice, dal, chana dal, all the dals and everything, then would go to Sheila. And why not go to the people who really mattered? Yeah? Because, Mataji, she's the Osho's mother. Why not take care of that lady? Yeah, with such loving care like she deserved. No, they wanted the Indians to be mistreated, so they learn how to be Western. Bullshit. And I would go to Sheila many times and say, you're doing the wrong thing. And she would try to get me out of the commune. So one day I got a message that I should leave. Okay, so I got my big drum, I got a tent, and I found out where was the limit of the ranch into another ranch, the neighbor. On the road, when Osho makes the round turn to go back he would go all the way out and make a turn. So I put my tent right there in the limit of, you know, if the neighbor came, I would say, no, I'm in this side. So if Sheila would come, I said, no, I'm in that side. So it was a very flexible location, yeah? And, but I remember Osho drive by, he went, "Chong." And when he made the curve, he saw this guy in the snow was falling, and I was playing my drum to him. Nobody was there. And he opened, the guy said, what are you doing here? I said, I was kicked out. Sheila Vidya sent me out of the commune, so I want to see you. So this here belongs to the neighbor. Until he comes, I will greet you here every day. Do you mind? He said, no, put the drum on the back and let's go back. And then he said, tell Vidya to give you and Gayan one single room for you guys. Yeah, because I was in love with Gayan, she in love with me, and we have every night to hunt some place to go and be together. Because in my room, there was a girl that was making so much noise and complaining, and Gayan didn't like her, I didn't like her, so it was not fun to be there. So, and this was the trigger to get me out of the ranch, this girl, because she was friend of Sheila and Vidya. And Bhagwan said, tell Vidya, see if she want to go, and she can go, but you stay. And I felt immensely happy. I said, ah, man, you know, the guy is not going for this people's game, because it was a big game with Sheila and all the lawyers and all the blah, 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 yeah. And we were the people, we were the rascals, yeah, the musicians. But Osho loved us. And Osho all the time, where are my musicians? Why are my musicians not here? Did my musicians came? Yeah, he always gave us a lot of love and caring, yeah, because the, how to say, the powers there in the commune, they never liked this intimacy that the musicians had with the master, especially Sheila. And I feel sorry for this woman, you know, she's finished. But, you know, I hope she finds a better way and one day get enlightened herself. Yeah?
Yes, Swamiji. So, yeah, you told us a lot of stories, you know, gradually going to the ranch, you know, but I want to go back to the Pune one, you know, and ask you some things, you know, like we have seen many videos of energy darshans, you know, like also giving energy darshans, you know. So I was really curious, you know, how was the phenomenon takes place of energy darshan, you know, because the music that Chaitanya, Swami Chaitanya Hari was also playing was going so intensely up, you know. So that was creating the energy, you know. I could still feel it from the video, you know. So, so could you please say something about us?
When I arrived in the ashram, I saw just one energy darshan, and then Osho went into silence. I arrived on the 21st of March, yeah? And he went into silence around that time, yeah? And arrived, then there was one energy darshan, and then he declared that he was in silence. And I felt, oh, why, man? I just came here to hear you. But then I was chosen to play music in the silence, because it was the satsangs and the darshans. Yeah? And from then on, something else musically happened in the commune, because music in the commune was always a harassment. Because you had these mamas They want to control the musicians. And these ladies, they didn't know anything about music, about people, about love, and they were just following Sheila's advice, how the music should sound in Buddha Hall. And they didn't know diddly shit about anything. Yeah. And instead of let the musicians create the energy, they would always suppress. But we did what we wanted to do, yeah, in the end, yeah. And it doesn't matter if all those women were around trying to control us, yeah. The music spoke strongly, yeah. And to a point that when we went back to Pune, because in Rajneeshpuram, for example, yeah, we develop the Osho Bar, which was an energy thing. Like we would stay at the Gachami side near Lao Tzu house for the drive-by, and the Indians would come. Mataji, no, what was her name? Taruma. Taruma was the singer, for the kirtan singer. And Taruma would bring a lot of people with her. Maitreya was there. Was a point in the ashram, in Rajneeshpuram, where 2:00 there was a energy darshan, yeah, because Osho would come in a car, would stop, and the whole thing would go, and we would sing and dance, and it was beautiful. Yeah? And that is what we took to Buddha Hall later on in Pune too. So, but the energy darshan in the beginning, Osho wanted to do that, but since Chaitanya Hari didn't have the drummers to make the pulse, because you see what happened in the energy darshan in Pune too, in Buddha Hall, was the same energy darshan kind that he did in Pune Ashram, Pune 1. Just didn't have that intensity that all those drums together created, because you see, the pulse was steady, strong, and completely embellished by the Indian scales. And so you had the ground, the earth, and the sky together. And that soars, man. When you have that happening and everybody meditating and Osho controlling the sound, because Osho would go with hands up like this, and we would just follow his lead. Yeah? And when he goes like this is one thing, when he goes like that is another thing. And we, in silence, we discover all these nuances of how to play music. When he would go like this, when the music was really high, and he want to go higher, he would just lift the hand a little bit and make a little stronger here. And we had to go with him. And because there was not this squared music forms, was a free form music, could move with him very easily. And so it would take people really into the innermost flame in the heart. Yeah, because the music is really chaotic. Have you ever heard the lion's roar? Akash.
I don't remember, Swamiji.
So find out the lion's roar.
Okay,
Lion's roar
Swamiji.
is the music of the new millennium. It's a meditation like it's and takes you over. Yeah. Most of the people didn't want to go that way because it, I say, let them naked. You had to go through yourself. When that music was played and the master was there, and the master wanted more intense music and more intense, and all of a sudden your mind is gone. You can't control that. Yeah? And he knew that. And he did that. And I'm grateful that I was co-creator of that.
And we are very thankful, because to just experience it through you and through also, we are very much grateful and we are very much thankful. So, so yeah, Swamiji, so, do you want to, so are there some incidents and are there some stories of during Pune 1, that we don't know about or which is not, surfaced around us?
Do you know, have you heard about Swami Maitreya, right?
Yes, Swamiji.
Enlightenment.
Yes.
So Maitreya was a very good friend of mine.
Oh,
We became friends because like this is how it happened. I arrived in the ashram. And then the next day, Rupesh invited me to go play for satsang with Chaitanya Hari. And there were the guards. And the alarm for the guards was a whistle. Prrr. If you hear the whistle, all the guards would stand up and down, and some danger is approaching. So I'm sitting there inside Buddha Hall, like a few meters from Osho, and we are playing the music. And then somewhere I hear the birds singing outside, and the whistle that I had fitted perfectly with the whole climate that was going on in Buddha Hall. And I prrr, and not one time, I prrr, prrr, all the ashram, because this was on a microphone, so the whole ashram heard, and that was the sign that was danger. So all the guards started to run inside Buddha Hall, and it was really chaotic. And so Maitreya came to me and they said, he put the hand in my head like this and said, I don't know you, you just came. My name is Maitreya, but you seem to be the first silent joke from the master. Because look at this, and the whole ashram was still running, after the music, because what happened? Who played the whistle? I was a musician. And so they had to change because I wanted to use the whistle. The whistle is in tune with the pentatonic scale, which is an oriental scale from the East. And I want to use that whistle. So, so they had to change a little bit. When they hear the whistle during satsang, nobody would move again. So, but Swami Maitreya, he was a great inspiration for me because he was a politician from the, how you call, MP, Member of Parliament. And he dropped all that. And in the ranch, in the Rajneeshpuram, we became very close. We would I would go by his house in the morning and we walk to the cafeteria together. He was a great walker. He likes to walk. Very skinny guys. And in these walks, he was already in the brink of becoming enlightened. And he didn't like people who talk too much. And we would walk in silence. Sometimes the whole, from the trailers all the way to Madalena, we wouldn't say one word. Would be just looking at each other, just no mind. And we became friends. Then he came to Madalena to chop vegetables. And then one day in this table in Madalena, there was a very incredible group of people. I don't know if you ever heard of Swami Narayan, Gajar Baba. Gajar means...
I had heard about him.
So Gajar Baba was a dear friend of mine. I'll tell you the story. Gajar Baba arrived in Rajneeshpuram for a celebration, and he arrived in the winter time. And he was dressed just like a lungi, in a shoe, no socks, and nothing. And I look at him and I say, what a beautiful guy, man. He had blue, greenish eyes, yellowish, change with the sun, and really like two torch of light. And I look at him and he looked at me and we smiled at each other. And I went to him and said, look, you're not dressed for the occasion. I will provide something for you. So I went to a place there in the ranch and we stole a few clothes for him, like pants and boots and socks. We took a bunch of things. Man, the rancher was rich, so this man is enlightened, and I want to give it to him, even if I had to steal it. So I went there to Howdy Doody, and I got this stuff for him. And I came with the truck from Lao Tzu Garden, and I got him in the truck, and we went to my room, and he dressed up, and we became really good friends. And Gajar Baba, he used to go to sleep in the burning ghats, where you burn the people. In the summer, he would go to sleep there. And I would go there to fly kites with him. I used to make patang. You know what patang is?
Yes, Swami.
Kites.
Yes, yes.
And I would go fly kites with him. And we became really good friends. And he said to me, do you know what tukdam means? Have you heard? Tukdam? Tukdam is not dead. The translation is not dead. It's when you stop everything in your body, the whole process, only the breath keeps going, and you go on for 200 years. They find some monks now that are still alive, they're not dead. This you call tukdam. And since we were there in the burning ghats, we would see like 4 or 5 corpses being burned every day. And he would teach me many things. This guy, Jababa, was, after Osho, he was my main inspiration because he was so simple and so beautiful and so enlightened. Yeah, and most of the people didn't even notice him, And so in the table, Ajay Baba, Maitreji, Taruma, myself, another royalty from England, I forgot her name, Christine something, and I forgot her sannyas name, and another Indian, Swami. And I would bring from Portland, I would go to Portland every week to play in the disco. And Taruma likes to have a drink. So I would bring a little bit of booze for her, some cognac, some whiskey. So, and then would put the cognac into the coffee and would be drinking coffee. Everybody was stoned out there, drinking cognac, and everybody laughing, and all these enlightened people sitting around. And this energy passed to you, this fun. Maitreya was very much fun. Gajar Baba was also much fun. And both of them showed me that I also can be like that. I just have to change my point of view and starting seeing things from an enlightened point of view. And this is what everybody needs to remember, because everybody forget about. You are enlightened, you just forgot about. Everybody's enlightened. You're born enlightened because you have no imprint in your mind. So when you're a baby and you're just new baby, you're enlightened. This is what enlightenment is about. No mind. Yeah. And then your father started, oh, what a beautiful kid. And then the mama come always, he'll be a great man. And then the grandfather come, ha, da, 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 da. Everybody is starting to put junk inside you. and you become Akash, become Nivedano. So you have to. I have a new name now because I got tired of Nivedano. My new name is Mojai.
Mosai. What is the meaning
Mojai.
of Mosai, Swami?
Mojai is the guy in the Himalayas that collect the flowers.
Beautiful name.
Yeah, and then because Nivedano, everybody knows Nivedano. And I don't like to say Nivedano anymore or Alirio anymore, because now everybody knows that Nivedano was Osho's disciple. And that Nivedano is this, Nivedano is that. So I don't want that anymore. It's good when you are nobody.
Lot of identification has been attached with Nivedana, right? So you want to
Yeah,
destroy it.
yeah. So for me, it's much easier to be invisible. I like to be invisible. I like to go to pass and nobody even notice. And in this is what I love about Magababa. Have you ever heard about
Yes.
Magababa?
Yes, Swamiji.
This is another genius that happened to the planet. Another light that came to the planet. Magababa. Magababa is my dear, 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 dearest. Because he was the one who said, hey man, get a job to our master. Our master didn't want to go to teach people around the world. Yeah, like Buddha. He says, no, why should I go and waste my time with all these people, And Magababa said, no, you are the only hope because you are a doctor, you are a professor, you speak English, you know about philosophy, about psychology, you know all this. So why not share this with the whole planet? We're gonna help you. And Magababa is one of these human beings that incarnate especially to help Osho. His whole thing was to get this guy, Acharya Rajneesh, to become Bhagwan, to become Osho. Yeah? His whole soul purpose was to give Osho a kick in the ass for he become the master that he was, that he is. Yeah, because the day that he got enlightened, you know the story about Magababa and Bhagwan. The day that he got enlightened, the first person that he went to see was Magababa. And Magababa looked at him and said, hey, you don't have to say anything, I can see. It happened. So now my work is done. See you later. He say, hey, wait. You cannot go like this just because, I got enlightened. You just go, yeah, I came here just for this. And so give me something from you, Bhagwan was asking him. And he said, here's my blanket. A dirty blanket that he carried everywhere, but it was a sacred blanket. And Osho's grandmother, I think, didn't want him with that dirty blanket inside the house, and he had to hide under the bed. And Magababa disappeared. Nobody ever heard of Magababa again. And this is how it should be. You can help people without people knowing that you're helping them. This is the best way to help somebody. If you want to help somebody, yeah.
So Swamiji, let's go to the runs, So when you arrived at the runs, what jobs did you do? What was your work during the runs? And you had also said with me that you cleaned master's swimming pool, So tell us something about these stories.
Oh, in the ranch, the first day I arrived, they sent me to Lao Tzu Garden. And I say, wow, this is miraculous. I arrived and I already come here to make gardens for the guy. And then we made the lawn and I started to get more familiar with the gardening because landscape was an old profession of past lives in Japan. I was a designer of landscape of gardens in Japan, the incarnation. And then one day I was in the garden and Osho asked Swami Rashid, where did you get these rocks? And Rashid said, oh, in a canyon. And I said, can you get more? I said, yes. But then, next day, Rashid was removed from the garden. He went to work somewhere else. And then I was there in the garden. Bhagwan came one day and said, what about my rocks? I said, I don't know anything about rocks. What do you mean? He said, I asked these rocks, this, that. I said, oh, the guy Rashid, he went away. But you want more of these rocks? Yes. Okay, so these rocks, you can only get these rocks in Arastra Canyon, which was one canyon inside of the mountains that had these white pebbles, river stones that they were polished around. And but to go there, you have to go by horses. And because the cars cannot go up in the snow. It's very slippery and they get stuck. He said, okay, so can you do it? I said, yes. Just there is a problem that I am forbidden to ride horses because I used to go in the night with Rupesh to the hills with the girls to make love and have a drink. And then we were caught and there was a big noise. And then they said I cannot ride horses again. And Bhagwan said, nonsense, just do it. So the master is saying for me to do it. So I'm gonna do it. So I went to the horse corral and I told the girls, look, tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, I come to get 4 horses because the master wants these rocks and these rocks can only be gotten if you go in the mountains. But you are forbidden to ride. I said, look, I don't care if I'm forbidden or not. I just need the horses. And the master told me to get the horses. So, and this for the whole night, there was this commotion because I wasn't supposed to ride horses because it was a breach of security that me and Rupesh goes out in the mountains with the girls and what are they bringing? Are they terrorists and this? Oh, bullshit, oh, power trip. Yeah? But you want to make love to your girlfriend? And you go to a nice secluded place. You're not going in a room full of people. It's not fun, huh? So we used to go to the mountain. And we took the horses and a bottle of booze. Because the guy who was the mate, the maitre in Sheila's Jesus' house was our friend. So he would get one bottle every night for us to get a little something to drink. Because it was very cold. And Vinod Khanna, you know Vinod Khanna, the actor from Delhi.
Also, who?
Vinod Khanna.
Yeah.
So Vinod was my friend too. And at that time, for 1.5 years, we drank a lot in the ranch. Was like, it was the only way to not to pay attention to the bullshit that was going on. So we got a little drunk every night. Yeah? It was really fun. Nothing heavy, nothing bad, just fun. And so next day, we wake up, get the horses, and go get Osho's rocks. And this was a big commotion because who told that Nivedano and Rupesh can go out on a horse to get rocks? What is this? You know, we are the bosses. And then they came to me and said, no, the boss here is in Lao Tzu house, not you. And he told me to go and get the rocks, so I'm getting the rocks. Now get out of the way. Yeah, this was big commotion, eh? 6:30 in the morning. Yeah? So we went and we got the rocks and brought the rocks to the garden. We had to do that 10 times because we wanted to make a riverbed. It was a waterfall and a riverbed. So you have to do it originally how it's made in nature. And this garden was always a push button for many people in the ranch because we had the priority to use all the equipment. Cranes, trucks, tractors, whatever we needed to make Osho's garden, it had to be provided. And this was a very big ego struggle between the garage people and the gardeners, because we need to get Osho's garden ready. And he wanted to move to the back house, and we had to make a whole forest for him. Every day he would come in the garden and say, where are my bamboos? Where am I this? Where am I that? And I would say, look, we have to wait until it starts snowing to go get the bamboos, because and then the roots get dormant, and then you can take the bamboos and come and plant it here. Every day for like 6-7 months, he would come out of the house, where are my bamboos? It was already boring to hear that every day. But he was pushing. He wanted to do something with us, because there was a lot of power struggle there with the money to buy the bamboos, and we had to find the bamboos in the forest somewhere near Portland, and we had to buy, and they knew we were sannyasins from Rajneeshpuram, so they charged a lot of money. And one day we bought the bamboos. We bought 2 truckloads of bamboo, and in 48 hours, there was a whole bamboo grove behind his house. He never asked again. And we were ready to hear. He came out of the house, but he didn't see the bamboos. I knew he didn't see it because we planted overnight. Over the whole day, 24 hours, we planted the whole bank. And then the other day, we planted the behind. But so this first bamboo grove, he never saw it with his eyes. But the day that we planted, he came back from drive-by and didn't ask, where are my bamboos? And then Swami Tamaya said, excuse me, master, did you see something new? He said, no, don't see anything new. It was really funny this day because, how did he know that the bamboos were there, But he knew. And actually, we did that with the whole Lao Tzu garden. We bought 1,500 sequoia trees from a national park. And it was a big operation to bring all those big trees, those sequoias. We bought sequoias, 50-year-old sequoia. Sequoia grows to 2,000 years. And we bought them 50 years old, like trunks like this big, like this. But 20 meters high. And one flatbed truck would bring 3 trees. So you now make the account how many trucks went from Portland to the ranch just bringing trees. A lot of money. And the people in the office, in the money office, they were always upset with the gardeners. Because, man, they are like Judas. Judas came to Maria Magdalena that was putting oil in Jesus' feet and said, don't do that. This oil costs too much money. The guy's going to be hung tomorrow. They did the same thing with Osho's garden. In the waterfall that I made for him in the Punatu, they came with the same story and said, get out of here. And I was so mad this day. I had a big hammer like this in my hand. And this idiot come to me, and he comes to say some bullshit about money. And I knew that Osho was inside the room because I saw when the lights went on. And we're not supposed to look inside his room, yeah? But he was there. I knew he was there. And this guy, he is dead now, Swami Amitabh. He came to complain about us spending the money. And I said to him, you see this hammer here? You see this hammer? And I went, dang, in a big metal thing. Yeah. But I did really heavy. I said, if you don't get out of here, I will do this in your head. Yeah. Get out. And 10 minutes later, come the girl, I think it was Nirupa. Somebody came from the house and said, Bhagwan wants to know what happened. That you hit with that hammer, the crane metal thing, made a big noise and the guy ran. I said, oh, he came here to be just like Judas Iscariotes. And I don't like people like this. And I don't want this here. This here is a sacred place for me. And if he comes here again, I will beat him up. So tell him not to come here again with this bullshit, treacherous speech. Yeah. And he was one of Jayesh's puppet. Yeah. Jayesh had many puppets. Yeah. All good boys. There was a German guy, there was this guy Amitabh who was American, there was another one Indian guy, and they all push a saco. I don't know how you say, somebody who is always a bootlicker. Yeah. And easy money, Jayesh, he always wanted to control this. And my friends, I have many rich friends. And they had some unorthodox way to make money. I don't care how they make money. That's their karma. Yeah? But they would come to me and say, Nivedano, we have here $50,000 that we want to donate to your project of the waterfall because we are connected with this. This is beautiful. This is so far out that we want to participate and we want to give you some money. And this money could not go into the ashram's account because it was black money. Yeah. And my friends who gave him the money didn't want to give it to the commune because, you know, why to give money to somebody that you don't know what the money will go for? You understand? So
Yes, sir.
he would give to me cash. Yeah. This German guy came to me and said, look, here's 50 grand. Do whatever you want. And then the next day come another guy and say, here's another 50,000. Yeah, because one girl from Dubai is a very rich country, yeah? And this girl was married to somebody from royalty, a politician, and she went to Osho and she fell in love and she wanted to be there. And was totally against the Muslim. Yeah, imagine it. She was and she found me to alleviate that whole turmoil that went on her head. Yeah, how is she gonna deal with being a sannyasin and get out of Kuwait? Yeah, or Dubai. I don't. Kuwait was Kuwait where she came from. And then she said, "How can I help?" And I said, look, we need to make behind the white marble waterfall, we want to make a black granite wall, 25-meter long by 7-meter high. Just 1 second, I have to do something here so it doesn't go out. Leonardo,
Yes, Swami.
just 1 second. Não, vem aqui rapidinho. Aqui, ó. Tem que botar aqui, apertar esse sim aqui, ó. Em 35 segundos. Can you hear?
Yes, Swamiji, I had continued the recording.
Pergunta para ele se, caso estiver já dando sinal
De ligar?
de encerrar, o que encerra com a hora. Vai mandar outro link para a
Tá.
gente poder fazer.
So if you need, we do another half hour because I have to go, no?
Okay,
And,
Swamiji.
so, and if you starting to say that it's gonna turn it off, you just send another link. We can do it again another day if you want, yeah? Where were us?
You were saying about the granite wall, 7 meter high.
Oh, yeah. And then this girl came and said, look, I can give you the money to buy the granite. I said, great. So I got Ananda and I said, look, somebody wants to donate the whole granite. Can you please ask Bhagwan if he wants? Ask Osho. And she took 3 months to come back with the answer. And you have to understand that all this is politics. Yeah, all this. Like Osho put me in a garden, in charge of making the Samadhi garden for him. And he told me in private, don't worry about the money, just do it. Yeah. And Ananda didn't know that. Easy Money didn't know that. Nobody knew, yeah, nobody knew that. And I have many stories to tell about my meetings with Osho 3 o'clock in the morning that nobody in the community, not even Guyana, knows about it. Because he told me not to tell anybody, otherwise they would kill me. Yeah, of jealousy. So much jealousy. Yeah. And Nivedano was a threat for these people. Yeah. Because my love, my devotion, my surrender to the master. Yeah. I was there for him, for his work. And so it doesn't matter if it's going to cost $10 million or $100 million. The last project that Osho asked me to do, yeah, was a dolphin pond. That would cost $1 billion. You know what $1 billion is, no? So, and this was to push the buttons of all these people. Want to hear the story?
Yes.
In the Puna 2, in the end, just like 1 month before he died, yeah? He calls me and say, the waterfall is not finished. And I said, yes, I know, I can see that, with all these people here just creating trouble, how can you finish? I already found $250,000 for my friends, private money, is in my room to buy the lightning, the lights to light up the waterfall the way you want. And then this is how it happened. I was playing with the lights, these theatrical lights, the big lights, huh?
Yes, Swamiji.
In the night to make it blue. I wanted to make like a waterfall in the night with the full moonlight, yeah? And it's white marble from Macarana, really pure white. And with the blue light would make translucent. The whole marble would be blue. It was really incredibly beautiful. Huh? And I was playing with the lights, and this girl, Ananda, she saw the lights from her room that has transparent, ink, without color, glass panes. Huh? And in Bhagwan's room, the windows are blue already, it's tinted blue. So the brightness of this light from from a transparent window is different, is more blue than looking from my window with blue, in the tinted blue, right? So I told her, don't tell him yet, because I'm waiting for some lights to come from Bombay, another 10 lights that will make it, the room inside his room blue, more bluish. And the idiot went there and told him. I said, look, I told you not to tell the guy. And then the guy said, look, the waterfall is incomplete. I said, look, I told her not to say anything because it's incomplete, because they're creating problems. So I have the money already to buy the lights. The lights will be here in a few days. And then he turned around and looked, Ananda, provide everything that Nivedano requires to finish the waterfall. Was like something really pointed at her. And her ego got really bruised this day. And then Osho, I namaste, touched his feet, he touched my head, and he left. And then as I started to stand up, came this barrage of crap, of shit from Ananda came into me. You betrayed me, you this, you that. I said, look, this is not the right moment, neither the right place for you to talk about betrayal. How can you talk about betrayal in the master's room? Yeah, this is for the politics outside, not here. And there was a big altercation going on, and big, wow, loud, loud, loud. And Amirito came, and I went to my room, and I started to shout out there. I want to shout, I would shout from upstairs, right to his window, because I wanted him to hear. I would say, how can you guys in this sacred place talking about this bullshit? Blah, 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 went on for 1 hour. I said, tomorrow, I want to convey the whole inner circle, and I want to talk about this. And I'm sure Osho heard the whole thing, the whole commotion. So I went to sleep. In the morning, I said, look, I don't want to be in the ashram today. I got a car, I said, take me to Saswat, let's go find rocks there. So I went to Saswat. When I came in the ashram, there were like 10 messages for me to go look for Amrito. Look for Amrito, look for Amrito. So when I got to Lao Tzu gate, Amrito is there. And he said, well, the master wants to see you. Again. I said, look, tell him that I don't want to see you. I don't want to see him with the same company ever again. I don't want to see my master with you and Anand and whoever bullshitters are there. So tell him I'm not going. And this is not nice to tell the master, huh? But I was so enraged with these people because I don't want to go in the room again with those same blah, blah, blah people. And then 10 minutes later, Milito come to my room and say, Osho said for you to reconsider because a lot of water already been down the Ganges from yesterday, and today will be different. And so such an argument, you cannot say anything. No? So I go to the room. First, I didn't have a robe, a clean robe. So I had to get a woman's robe, put the robe, with the buttons to the back, and tie here because it was like this, and tie here, and I looked like more male robe. And I go then, he said, and when I walk in, he winks at me. You know what a wink means, huh? He's saying like, Nivedano. No, they had the whole circus already prepared, yeah, to persuade Osho not to use, because Osho told her to give me the money to buy the lights and finish the waterfall. She didn't want to give the money, so she got a Vibhava and a Merito. A Vibhava was the rich girl that was paying for everything, yeah? So she got this girl, buy the lights, and they had the whole circus already set up to persuade the master not to continue with the waterfall. And then he winked at me and said, Nivedano, consider the waterfall finished. And then he winked again. And I said, wow, what's going on? He said, I have another project for you. Consider this here done. he was saying like, this is so much trouble, Nivedano. Tell them to fuck off and let's move on. I have another project for you. And I was very happy. Another project. Wow, I'm going to work again exclusively for my master. And not for the commune, no, but just for him. And he said, I want you to make a dolphin pond. And I said to him, man, are you crazy? And I started laughing because it was a dolphin pond. Huh? And he said, yeah, a dolphin pond. I said, where? He said, he went with the room with the hand like this, around Buddha Hall. And he went counterclockwise, like this, around Buddha Hall. And counterclockwise means something in the spiritual world. You should go and find out. Counterclockwise. No? And then he said, and then I asked him, so when can I start this? He said, immediately. I said, immediately means now. Is to start now? He said, yes. And then he left the room. And he gave me a dolphin pond to make. I said, this is crazy, a dolphin pond. 450 kilometers from Bombay. Bombay is the next ocean. How are we gonna do this here? And then I couldn't sleep a whole night in that excitement, I'm gonna make a dolphin pond for the master. Wow, 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 wow. And I went to my friend's house there. Yeah, he was hydraulic engineer. And I banged his door and said, 2 o'clock in the morning, Shaitan, open up, man. I need to talk to you because I can't go to sleep. And you were the guy who had to tell me. And then we talked about 5 o'clock in the morning. And then we realized that the nearest dolphin area in the world would be Hong Kong. And then I got a lot of air, because the master gave me all that air. And I was really pissed off with those people. I went to the office and said, look, I need 2 tickets to Hong Kong tomorrow, and I need $10,000 for the expense for 2 people to go to Bangkok, Hong Kong, Bangkok, Bombay. And these people are nuts because, again, it's going to start. They already finished the waterfall. There was a big headache, a lot of money, man. Huh? And now we're going to start again. And then I went to Hong Kong. I went to the dolphinarium there. And the guy in there said, look, we spent $350 million to make this place here for the dolphins. We got the water from the Hong Kong Bay, just 2-3 kilometers from here, salt water. You have to pipe the water for 450 kilometers from the Bombay ocean. And you need to have permits, license, and big construction work and la, 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 la. And this will cost more than $1 billion. I said, great. This will really hit the core there, really will hit them really strong. Because they were concerned about money, which is necessary to be concerned about money. But the device for these people, for their meditation, was to go beyond that, not to be stuck with the money. Yeah, money is necessary. You need to take good care of the money. Money is a scarce commodity. There is not much money around. So you have to be really thoughtful and to do something with money. But this was their device. So I went back to the ashram and I met one of these people from Hollywood, and I said, look, I don't know if you're gonna like what I have to say to you, but it will cost $1 billion to do what Bhagwan wants. And I could see that the person went pale. Yeah. Kavisho was her name, Ma Kavisho. She was married to David, and her, David, Avibhava, and Dian John were the Hollywood people. Yeah? And Avibhava was the money girl. Yeah? And I went to Avibhava and said, look, I just told Kavisha that. Now I'm going to tell you, because I'm going to send a message tonight to Bhagwan, to Osho, that I'm ready to start. And to start, we would have to buy the 2 streets behind the ashram, yeah? The one right behind, and then there was Nala Park, and then there was the street where number 70 was. Yeah? We want to buy all those houses and make a whole thing for the dolphins. And the Nala Park would be the beach. And man, these people freak out. they freak out. When they saw the plans, they were mad. Yeah, they want to kill Nivedano. I know. They would want to kill me because I would push them to the brinks of their ego. Or they would drop the ego, or they would die. And the master was pushing Nivedano to push them. And I didn't care where it took us. Yeah? I'm here as a vehicle for the master. And if you want to work through me, please do it. I'm very honored and very grateful. Yeah? So these people, they didn't take it well. Yeah? Luckily for them, Osho died 1 month later. And we couldn't do it, the project Dolphin Pond. Yeah? I will do here for him. He asked me to do a dolphin pond. I will do here in the rivers. We have 6 rivers where I live. I live within a property that has 6 rivers. So I'm preparing to make a dolphin pond from the Amazon. It's a different kind of dolphins, huh? Not the dolphins from the seawater, but the sweetwater dolphins, huh? Most of these people, they still need to go in deep meditation, because if you live near the master, you take for granted that the master is there, because you see him every day, you talk to him every day, you bring him news, you take news, like most of the people that work with him. None of these people that were there inside his room are enlightened. And some of people that are outside of this circle are enlightened. Yeah? I know a few of them, yeah, that work direct to Osho, but not in his rooms. Yeah, they are enlightened. Gayan is enlightened. Gayan is to make her robes. Yeah? Gayan was one of the most divine person that I know in the planet Earth. She's a wonderful human being, very trustworthy. She is loyal and totally devoted to the master. There are a few other ones, but I like to say Gayan because I was married to her for 30 years. Yeah? We lived together 30 years. And I learned many things in my life by being with Gayan.
I think one of
About
them
trust.
is Swami Yog Chinmaya also, He also
What?
Swami Yog Chinmaya also walked in very esoteric way for Osho.
Yeah, Chimaya. Chimaya is from Nepal. Chimaya was from Nepal, no? From
I
China.
think he was from India, but he was in Nepal for a few years in Pokhara.
Pokhara. There are few. There was the Swami, the Indian Swami that's now in America. I forget his name. We should declare him enlightened. Yeah? But this pushed many people's button. Then one day Osho came in Buddha They see the cuckoos, the solitary bird, the cuckoo in the forest. Yeah? In the discourse, he said that Nivedana is the master.
Swamiji, I think your network is getting little bit interrupted. Yes. Hello, Swamiji.
Okay?
Yeah, now okay.
So when something like this happen in a commune, that the master declares something like that to a disciple, it generates immense anger and jealousy in many people because they want that. And how come somebody get that attention from the master, that recognition from the master, and they didn't get it? So they want to crush you. They want to kill you. Yeah. I remember he said, and then 2 days later, he sent me his robe, his shoe, his sock, his hat, a towel, all in one package. It's like a message for me, yeah? You get the robe, the shoe, the sock, the hat, and a towel. And what the master want to tell you with that? Yeah. And I would avoid to say anything to him because I knew he was giving me rope to hang myself, you know? He was like the last, he had to try one last time to see if I really got it or not. Yeah. And so he give you the rope. Yeah. He says something like that. Yeah. And then since I didn't say anything, he comes later and says something else about being humble, about being the most prayerful, the most innocent. I didn't say anything either. Because if I am not there, who is going to say anything? Yeah. So he understood that I won't say anything. He can say whatever he want to say. If he want to say that I'm a piece of shit, I won't say anything too. If he said that I'm a master, I won't say anything else. That's his point of view, not my understanding. I have to go with my understanding. And then I asked him if I could cut his head off. This was really crazy. Because the people in the ashram, they didn't understand that. They thought that I want to kill the master. But I was just following Buddha's words. What on Buddha's word? That one day you need to cut the master's head, meaning that you have to let go of the master and you have to stand on your own. And this is what I'm doing here. I'm standing on my own. Now you gave me all the blood that I could ever expect, ever imagine to be possible. And I'm very grateful to you, but I have to leave you here. I have to now get out of your aura and be myself. One day, you see, I went to learn about voodoo, about sorcery. In Tibet, there was one great guy chamado Mila Repa. Have you ever heard about Mila Repa?
Yes, Swamiji.
Mila Repa,
Yes, Swamiji.
he was a disciple of Marpa. Mila Repa was a sorcerer. And then was a very situation.
Swamiji, we lost Swamiji again. Swamiji, we lost you for a minute and you are back again. Swamiji, I think you are muted. Can you please unmute yourself?
Can you hear now?
Swamiji, yes, yes.
Okay.
Now we can hear you.
Okay, so can you do it? It's really strong rain now and the intense going off. Is it stable?
Swamiji, it is still not stable.
Can you, since you want to read again?
Hello?
Can you hear? Can you hear? Oh, no.
Swamiji?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear?
Yeah. Now I can hear.
Okay, so why don't we do next week again? Because here is raining very hard and the stable internet is not.
Yeah, sure.
Hello?
Yes. Yes, Swamiji. We can do again next week, because we still have a lot of
Okay,
things to talk about.
Hello?
Hello, Swamiji?
Hello? Yeah, I'm here. Yeah?
Yeah. Yes, Swamiji. Brazil is having a lot of heavy rainfall. Because of that, Swamiji's connection is not that. Swamiji,
Yeah. Can you hear?
yes, Swamiji, I can hear.
Alô? Vai escapando um dos outros.
Swamiji, can you listen me? I think now the network is good.
What?
I think now network is stable.
We do it next week again because
Yeah,
here it's raining very strong and then the net goes off.
yeah. So Swamiji, before that, I want to say to the people who are watching this that we had planned a series kind of interview with Swami Nivedano. So this is about
Okay.
his journey, and we had only covered a half part of it, like I had planned. So in the next session with Swamiji, we will do the half part, and then we will go to the another part, where we talk about also that another part about question and answers. So is it all right, Swamiji?
Yes, that's okay.
Yeah,
Next week,
yeah.
same time.
Swamiji, so thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste, Swamiji. Bye bye.
Yes. Bye bye.